Welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited that you're here with me for this video and sharing this video with you. Today's video, we're continuing our chakra information series. So we're going to be talking about the solar plexus chakra today and look at it in a more detailed view. And as always, please like and subscribe, hit the like button so this video will go out to other people that need to see the information, but also hit the subscribe button so that you'll get future videos that I put out. So the solar plexus chakra is the third one coming up from the spine, and it is located about 2 inches from your navel, and it covers kind of that abdominal area. Its element is fire, and its color is yellow. So you'll see it associated all the time with the color yellow. And it is basically it is the site of our will and expression of our ego. It is associated with our pancreas, and this organ is the one that controls our insulin, our hormones, glucagon. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it also has influences. The chakra also helps with our metabolism, helps control our metabolism. And it is, this chakra is also linked to our self esteem, our motivation, our confidence, our purpose in life, and our personal power. And which is interesting is when we start talking about the layer that it's associated with in our energy, our electromagnetic field, it's interesting because those what it's in charge of totally corresponds to when this chakra is being developed, and we'll get into that in a minute, which is really interesting. So, the negative emotions, if we have negative emotions and fear about ourselves or uncertainty about ourselves, um, it comes from this chakra. So basically, if you don't feel confident in yourself and you have uncertainty in your abilities, that's what I mean by fear of yourself. Like, so fear of, uncertain about your abilities or who you are. Um, and you basically have negative emotions about that, that will come from this particular chakra. So the sacral chakra is connected to our third electromagnetic layer, our that's around our body. So, there's 7 layers that's around our body, and each layer is connected to a specific chakra. And in this case, it's our third chakra that is connected to the third energy layer, which is our mental layer. And so, because it's connected to our mental layer, it's associated with our ability to linear think and linear thinking that we have. And if you were to see people who are able to see this layer, they say it looks yellow, which is probably why it's always the chakras associated with yellow. But they say it looks yellow, and it's about 3 to 8 inches from the physical body. So it's close to the physical body, but it's, not as close as the first or second layer. And it really depends on the person, because every person's going to be different about where this layer starts. And a lot of it has to do with your vibration and frequency as to, whether it's 3 inches from your body or 8 inches from your body. But basically it's your vibration and frequency, but also your state of consciousness that's going to help determine where that layer is from your body. So basically, this layer is connected to us being creative and how our thought process works. So it's connected, like I said, it's our mental layer. So it's connected to thought forms and patterns. And people that have, that see the energy of this layer, they say, like, when people are mentally active and they have like thought forms or patterns, it'll be like little flashes of light whenever they have a thought or pattern, which is really pretty cool. So it's also connected to, our thoughts and minds, not just in our consciousness awake state, but also in our subconscious state. So they're both tied into this layer, your subconscious, mind and your conscious mind. And what's interesting is that this chakra develops between the ages of 14 and 21. So going back to what I said, it takes, 7 years for a chakra to fully develop. Going back to what I said earlier in the video, think about that. When you're between the ages of 14 and 21, you're developing your self-esteem, you're developing your motivation, you're developing your confidence and your purpose in life and your personal power. All that develops between the ages of 14 and 21. So that's interesting that, so if you have trauma or something that, some things that happen between that age range that's negative, it can have a negative effect on this chakra and the development of the chakra. If something happens during that time, that could be a major upheaval in your life or trauma or something like that. So, it's also the age of 14 to 21 when the solar plexus chakra is developing is also when we develop our belief systems. That's the time when you really start, becoming an individual, away from your parents, and you start to develop your own belief systems. And you might carry some belief systems from your family over, but that's when you really start to become more of an individual and have your own belief systems and have your own way of your outlook on life. You start coming into your own individual energy away from your family, and you start developing those parts of your life, and you carry those belief systems and your outlook in life, into adulthood as you get older. So, these belief systems can be both for the good or bad. Some belief systems are good and some aren't. It just depends. And it also can be good or bad on how not we have belief systems, but also how we look at ourselves and how we look at others. So it can be very positive how we see ourselves and others, or very negative. It just depends. So that's why it's best to keep our thoughts positive, because this is our mental layer. So you want to keep your thoughts as positive as you can be, and get out of negative thinking, because if you have a lot of negative emotion, negative energy, negative thinking, it can really affect how this layer works and how this chakra works, and can have a negative effect, which leads to when this chakra is blocked, the solar plexus chakra, you can have digestive issues, you can have ulcers, you can feel like powerless and feel stagnant, be quick to anger, have like IBS symptoms, constipation, diabetes. Also, eating disorders can fall under this chakra being blocked, and like liver disease and pancreas issues can all fall under that. So, as I said in previous videos, everything starts in the spiritual realm first, in the etheric realm, and in the spiritual realm, and then comes down into the physical. So if you're spiritually blocked in a chakra, over time it will start to manifest as a physical problem in your physical body if you don't take care of the blockage while it's in the spiritual. So if you don't take care of it, say that chakra's blocked and you don't take care of it in a spiritual way, then you'll start to have symptoms and issues in the physical body that coincide with that chakra, because it's been blocked for a long time and that energy needs to flow. So think about your chakras as being extremely important, because, well, they are, but they tie in so much to that electromagnetic layer that's around our body. And that layer and those chakras are like work like a fine-tuned machine of energy. And it's pulling energy from the divine into those layers. And we need that energy, we need that source energy to come into those fields, into those seven electromagnetic layers around us, but also into our chakras. And the chakras bring it from those layers into our body, and so that way we can function properly, because without that energy, now think about this for a minute when I say this to you, without that energy coming in, we would not be alive. So our very existence depends on this energy flow from the divine coming in. We need that connection of energy. We need that source energy coming in just to keep us alive. And that's why the divine set up this system of these seven layers electromagnetic field, but also the chakras to help bring in that positive energy from the divine, spinning properly, and then expelling energy that's not good for you. So in the previous video, when I talked at the root chakra, I was talking about how the root chakra expels negative energy out because it's facing downward. At the base of at the base of the spine, it's going down. And so, it's taking that negative energy and pushing it out, but it's also, bringing that positive energy in from that layer that it's associated with. And I believe it was the root chakra, the root chakra is the one that's connected to all seven chakras. So and all that. And so it's an important layer. But looking at the solar plexus chakra, it's got a front and a back, like the sacral chakra does. So there's like a front, and think of it kind of it looks like a funnel, like a little tornado, I guess is the best way. So you get it's like comes to a point, and then it goes out like this, and it's spinning. And then there's behind you as well. So you got the front part, and then you got the back part, that covers your body. But it needs to spin properly so that we can stay healthy, not just, as this case mentally, because it's attached to our mental layer, but also, spiritually and physically as well. So I wanted to end this video by telling you about some crazy experiences I've had with the solar plexus chakra. Probably out of all the chakras, this is one of the ones that I've had a lot of work with. This is the one that I've had, I want to say, the most issues with, but it's one that I kind of have to stay on top of to make sure it's not blocked. And it's one that, I have had issues in the past with, probably a little bit more maybe than other chakras that I have, that have, maybe I've had, maybe small issues with other ones throughout my life in the past. But it's really, I noticed that the solar plexus chakra I need to spend extra time on that one. But just to go back to my story, so there was a time in my spiritual awakening where I was getting a lot of attacks by negative vibrational entities. And these entities were not in the 3D realm, they were like in the 4D realm. And so I would be laying in bed at night, and I'd be starting to, not really asleep, but I would just relax and kind of start to doze off. And then they would be around me, like, they would show up when I was in that state, and I wasn't asleep yet, but I was aware of them being there. And a lot of times there was many of them around me, like, I'm laying on my bed, and there'd be like maybe 10 of them, like, around me, like as a circle. And they were there, and I could feel them there, and I could see them there, and it wasn't a pleasant experience, needless to say. And I remember, I don't know how I did this. I have no idea how I was able to do this, but I was able to use my sacral chakra kind of like as a bomb of light. And the funny thing is, it looked yellow, just like you say, say it looks yellow when you see it energetically, the solar plexus chakra. And I remember, like, I had this bright white, like bright yellow light come out of my solar plexus energy, or I'm sorry, solar plexus chakra. And it was this energy, and it came out like a ball of yellow light, and it just went boom. And it like was like a bomb went off of light, and it just went like this bright light just shot across the room, and it got rid of those negative entities like that fast. Just boom, they were gone. And I was like, "How did I do that?" Like, I don't even know how I did that, but subconsciously, I was able to do it, where I brought that, that it's like this ball of light comes out of the chakra, and it just went boom and just blew up, and then, like I said, just pushed them all out, and they were gone. I mean, it was like in the blink of an eye, they were gone. That's how fast, and they were all gone. And even if there was like 10 of them there, it didn't matter. They were all gone, which I was like, "Well, that's really cool." And the first time it happened, I just was like, "What is going on?" This is crazy, it's a crazy experience. But then it's happened a couple more times after that. So it's happened many times to me where I've had this solar plexus bomb go off basically whenever, to dispel these negative entities out of the area. It was really unique. I mean, I'm grateful for these experiences, but I just was kind of astounded that, how did I do this? How did I, like, bring this out of my solar plexus chakra? So it was really, crazy to me, that it happened, but it was unique. But then I talked to other people who were spiritually awakening, and they had the exact same experience. Like, they were also able to bring this energetic ball of, yellow light from their solar plexus chakra and have it go off. And so I wasn't the only one. So other people were doing this too. And it was like, wow, that's really cool. So what I took from that is I felt like our solar plexus chakra is extremely powerful, obviously. If it can dispel, 10 negative entities around me. It's a very, it's a very powerful chakra. I mean, they're all powerful, but I feel like the solar plexus one can be, extremely powerful or extra powerful. And it is really connected to that subconscious. And you think about it, if it is connected to our mental, that if that layer that it's the chakra is connected to in the electromagnetic field is our mental layer, then obviously it tapped into my subconscious mind because I wasn't consciously aware that, to do that, to make that energetic bomb. That wasn't something that I was you know, consciously aware of. I didn't consciously do it. So somehow it tapped into my subconscious that I needed to do this to get rid of these entities. And that was just really cool. So it just, just kind of an example of how it ties into our mental layer and how powerful our solar plexus chakra can be. And so that really taught me that lesson. And like I said, it happened more than once. It happened a couple times to me. And since then, the dark entities have really left me alone. I really haven't had, thank goodness, any more real intense experiences with them since then. It's been very, positive. So I'm grateful that they're kind of leaving me alone. But I just thought that was really interesting about the solar plexus. And I just wanted to share that story with all of you about my experience with the solar plex chakra. But I know that I need to continue to kind of really watch that chakra and continue to make sure it's healthy and that it's moving, it's spinning properly. Like I said, that's the one chakra that I feel like kind of gives me a little more trouble than the others. So I need to really, make sure I keep that one open. So I just wanted to share all this with you. I hope you like this detailed look into the solar plexus chakra. And I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.